So the first thing I want to check out is to make sure if it's add or subtract, and this one is add. So all I'm going to do is find the like terms. So I've got x cubed, oh, woohoo, wrong. I've got x cubed and x cubed. And then I've got, well, let's do it this way. So it's add. So it says just go ahead and rewrite it without the parentheses. So I've got 3x plus x cubed minus 5 plus 4x squared minus 4x plus 2x cubed plus 8. And then I'm going to find my like terms. So I've got, let's see, x cubed and 2x cubed. And then I've got 4x squared. And then I've got 3x and negative 4x. And then lastly, I've got negative 5 and 8. So now I'm going to put those together, all together. So I'm going to add, I'm going to add x cubed and 2x cubed. Well, that gives me 3x cubed. And then I've got, there's only there's only one x squared. So that would be 4x squared. And then I've got 3x minus 4x. Well, that's 3x minus 4x is negative 8. And I've got negative 5 plus 8, which gives me, negative 5 plus 8, gives me 3. And there's my answer. Okay. And then the second one is a minus sign, which means I'm going to distribute that sorry. Let's try this again. I've got a minus sign here, which means I'm going to distribute that negative sign through this second one, right? And then, so that gives me minus a minus is plus 4x squared. And this one I'm just going to line up underneath their like terms. And then minus a negative 6x, minus 6x squared is negative 6x squared. And minus 3 is minus 3. So I've basically just changed all the signs, right? If I distribute a negative through, it basically changes all the signs. It changes this negative to a positive, this positive to a negative, this positive to a negative. That's all it does, distributing a negative through. And then I'm going to add, so now you can see I've got all my x squareds here, all my x's here, and all my constants here. I'm just going to add straight down like a column. I'm just going to add 4 plus 2 is 6 x squared, and 5 minus 6 is negative 1x, and negative 7 minus 3 is negative 10. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make this bigger so it's easier. This is a minus sign. This is a minus sign. So that means I need to distribute all of that through my parenthesis. And then I'm just going to line them up with my like terms underneath my other equation. So what the distributing a minus does is it just changes all my signs. So it changes this one to a minus, this one to a minus, and this one to a minus. So this is negative x squared minus 3x minus 2. And I add that all together and I get x cubed minus 2x squared minus x minus 1. And there's your answer for that one. Okay? Is there any questions on that? Jasmine, did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, guys, so we're moving on to the well, it's not really new. You guys have probably done distributive property before, but we're going to talk about the distributive property today before we talk about, I call it the double distributive property, or foiling, or multiplying binomials. There's several things you can call it, and we're going to talk about that on I'm going to say tomorrow, but it's not tomorrow, right? It's Thursday, is that right? So we're going to talk about the distributive property and how that works. So the distributive property says let A, B, and C be real numbers, where A times B plus C gives you A times B plus A times C, right? I just take whatever's touching the parenthesis, and distribute it through. So it goes to everything that's inside the parenthesis. And the same thing works if it's a minus. So if I have A times B minus C, I get A times B minus A times C. That's it. And how do I simplify an expression? The first thing I'm going to do is distribute, and then I'm going to combine like terms. So sometimes when I distributive, I have like terms. So we're going to look at that. So, so sorry about that. Not sure what happened there. On this one, I did 6 times x and got 6x. And 6 times 3 is 18, and that's how we got 6x times 18. And sometimes I don't distribute numbers. Sometimes I distribute variables. So x times x gives me x squared, and x times -8 gives me -8x. So that's kind of how that works. Does anybody have questions on that? Are we okay? Are you guys ready to go on? It's not that difficult, unless you can't multiply. Just going to say that. We have several things where we're only going to distribute, and then we have a few where we're going to distribute and combine like terms both. So here we go. So there's a couple different ways you can do this, and I'm going to show you both ways right now. So I'm going to take whatever's touching the parenthesis, and it doesn't matter if it's touching the parenthesis on the front or if it's touching the parenthesis on the back. So on this one, I have a 9 here, and I'm just going to distribute. And you can use like this little rainbow effect, and that's what a lot of people do. You do this little rainbow thing, right? So that means 9 times x equals 9x. And then 9 times 7 is, what is 9 times 7? 63. And that's it. I can't combine the 9x and the 63 because they're not like terms. So I just got 9x plus 63 done. Okay. Now there's another way you can do it if you don't like doing the little rainbow type thing. And that's just kind of making a multiplication box. And this is kind of how you would do it. I guess I don't really have a lot of room here. So I have a 1 by 3. So I'm going to do, this would be 4 times 5m squared plus 3m minus 8. And then it's just a multiplication table, right? 4 times 5n is 20m squared. And 4 times 3m is 12m. And 4 times -8, -32. And then I just put it together, and there's my answer. 20m squared plus 12m minus 32. And I don't care which way you do it. I really, really don't care. You choose which way you like to do it best, and then do it that way, whichever way you feel more comfortable with. Does that make sense? Okay, so I want you to answer A and B. Okay, so I'm going to take this 6, I'm going to distribute it through, and I get 6 plus 42h. And I know that some of you guys wrote it backwards. You wrote 42h plus 6. That's okay, because you kept the signs the same, so it's all right. So either 42h plus 6 or 6 plus 42h is perfectly fine for your answer. Not a problem. So on B, what am I distributing? Well, I'm distributing negative, and if there's just a negative by itself, technically it's -1. So I'm going to distribute -1 through. So basically all that is happening is that I'm changing the signs of everything. So this would be -3y squared plus 7y squared minus 2. And that's it. Done. Jonathan, I think you factored it, which possibly could be right. I just have to check it and check and oh, it looks like it's probably right with the way you factored it, but we're not factoring. We're just distributing through it. Okay, so we're not factoring yet. We're gonna get there, but good job, awesome. Okay, so now we're gonna go, and I kind of did this one as a separate one because it has fractions in it. I know how you guys feel about fractions, but I'm still doing exactly the same thing. So I'm gonna distribute 1/3 through both of these, okay? So I'm gonna take 1/3 of 6a. So you can think of it as 1/3, well, what's 1/3 of 6? Okay, so that's how I kind of think about it, is divide, right? If I have a fraction, that basically means divide. So I'm going to take 6 and divide by 3 is basically what I'm doing. So that becomes 2a. And 1/3 of 15, or I take 15 and divide it into 3 pieces. Well, one of those pieces would be 5. So it'd be 2a plus 5. Okay, so same thing on the number 4. Instead of 1/3, though, this time I'm taking 1/4, and I'm going to distribute it through everything. So 1/4 of 16, or if I take 4 and divide it into 4 pieces, I want one of those pieces, which would be 4 x squared. And 1/4 of 24, 4 goes into 24 6 times, plus 6x, and 1/4 of 40 is 10. And that's it. I'm just taking them and I'm making them smaller this time. If I'm multiplying by a fraction, it makes my number smaller by that much. Okay, so I want you guys to go ahead and try on C and D. Okay, so I think the three of you that put your answers in for this first one got it right. So 1/4 of 12 and 1/4 of 24. 1/4 of 12. Oh, there's Monica. 1/4 of 12 is 3c, and 1/4 of 24 is 6, so it would be 3c minus 6. And then if we look at D, I'm doing a fifth, right? So a fifth of 5 is, oh, nice, Jonathan. A fifth of 5 is just 1, so that's r squared, which, by the way, how you put a square, I'll talk about that in a minute. And a fifth of 35, 5 goes into 35 7 times, and a fifth of 100 is 20. Yeah, that's right, is 20. Okay, so how I would type this into the chat box, just because some people just need to know how to type a square in. You go R, and then you do this shift 6 key, which is this little caret key, and then 2. So that's r squared. Okay, and then of course the rest is just the same. It's just the r squared to make sure you guys got that in. Nice, Maria. Nice, Jonathan. Good job, you guys. Okay, and then we're going to go on to a little bit harder now. We're going to make this a little harder. Okay, so we're going to distribute, right? So I'm going to distribute 8. But do I distribute 8 to the 5 is my question, to the 5W. Can someone tell me yes, no, why, what, whatever? Am I going to distribute? No, why am I not going to distribute it to the 5?
Because it's not inside the parentheses.
Because it's not in the parentheses. Very good. Yeah, it's not in the parentheses, so I'm not going to distribute it to the 5. I'm only distributing the 8 to what is in the parentheses. I can't talk right now. So the 8 only goes to what's inside the parentheses. So that's only the 2W and the 3. So let's see, 8 times 2, I think, is 16W, plus 24 minus 5W. Now I'm going to combine my like terms, and my like terms are 16W and negative 5W. So I've got, what do I have? 11W plus 24. Okay, Okay, so sometimes I get some extras and I have to make it simpler when I get done doing the distributive property. Did that make sense?
35.
Okay, so you guys do little e here, little e here. So I'm distributing the 5 only, so the 5 goes to here and here. So I'm going to write 2k again, plus 5 times 2 is 10k, and 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. And then my like terms are the k's, right? These ones right here. So then I get 12k minus 15. Roberto, does that make sense? Okay, awesome. Okay, so now we're going to go to the hardest one. I'm pretty sure there's not any this hard on your homework, but there might be. You never know. So it looks like I have two sets of parentheses, which means I'm going to be distributing twice. Well, the first time I'm going to distribute 2, and then I'm going to distribute -1, right? -1, basically. If there's not a number there, it's always 1. Okay, so I'm going to distribute that one through that parenthesis, the -1 through this parenthesis, and then I'll see what all my like terms are and put everything together. Okay, so I want to do all my distributing first and then find my like terms. So I've got 8 plus 14n minus 2 minus 10n minus 15. So my like terms here, let's see, I've got 14n and negative 10n, and then I've got 8, -2, and negative 15. Beautiful. So 14n minus 10n gives me 4n, and 8 minus 2 is 6. And 6 minus 15 is -9. So 4n minus 9. Yay. Okay, so we've got one more for you guys to try. Oh, let's talk about this one, okay? So I'm distributing, what am I distributing? Distributing this -2, right? That's the only thing I'm distributing. And it's only going to what's inside the parenthesis, yes? So I'm going to rewrite everything out, and I'm going to say this is 3x minus 10x squared plus 18x minus 2 plus 6. Because remember, this is I do want to just say this really quick. This is a -2, not just a 2. Okay, so now I'm going to find my like terms. So I've got 3x and 18x, and I've got these 2 at the end. Those are my like terms. So
don't pay attention to me. You got a class to teach.
So I do want to say that x and x squared are not like terms. So thanks. Oh, I should have asked you to bring a Gatorade too. Thanks. So I can't combine the x squared with that. Is that okay? Does that make sense? So x squared, remember, in order for them to be a like term, they have to be the same power, the same exponent raised to the same variable raised to the same exponent. I was like, that didn't make sense. The same variable raised to the same exponent. So this is x squared. Let's see. This is x squared, and this is x to the first power, so they're not like terms, so I can't combine them. They're not like terms, so I can't combine them together. So then I get -10 -10x squared plus 18, 19, 20, 21x plus 4. Okay? Is that okay? Does that make sense? I'm not sure how you got 12, Maria, instead of 21. I don't know if you just transposed the numbers. Okay? So, I think, let me see. I think that's it. So now you have 12 problems. I'm holding up 7. 12 problems in Delta Math.